so I think we went through the whole book, and I think what we can do now is read it. And I'm just going to read it to you, okay? So you're just going to listen really carefully, and I want your eyes on the book as I read it to you, okay? Can you see this paper right here in front of you? This is our graphic organizer, and this is going to help us kind of figure out the story a little bit.
It's actually going to help me.
It sure is. It's going to help me too, though. I'm going to inference with you together because I've never read this book before. I've only looked through the pages. Okay, so we're going to start. Let's put your paper down. Put your paper down for me. All right, and I'm going to read. Are you ready? Listen carefully. Eyes to me. Eyes on the book. The news traveled swiftly through the tunnels of the ant world. A scout had returned with a remarkable discovery. A beautiful sparkling crystal. When the scout presented the crystal to the ant queen, she took a small bite, then quickly ate the entire thing. Okay, dear, so you can take that page if you want to.
I'll read all of it. She deemed it the most delicious food she had ever tasted. Nothing could make her happier than to have much more than the ants understood. They were eager to gather more crystals because the queen was the mother of them. All her happiness made the whole ant nest a happy place. I want you to read it all.
Okay. All right, so we read that book. Okay, we read that page. Now I'll continue. It was late in the day when they departed. Long shadows stretched over the entrance to the ant kingdom. One by one, the insects climbed out, following the scout, who made it clear there were many crystals where the first one had been found, but the journey was long and dangerous. They marched into the woods that surrounded their underground home. Dusk turned to twilight, twilight to night. The path they followed twisted and turned, every bend leading them deeper into the dark forest.
Ooh.
Dark forest. More than once, a line of ants stopped and anxiously listened for the sounds of hungry spiders. But all they heard was the call of crickets echoing through the woods like distant thunder. Dew formed on the leaves above. Without warning, huge cold drops fell on the marching ants. A firefly passed overhead. That, for an instant, lit up the woods with blinding flash of blue light. I like those sound effects. That's awesome. At the end of the forest stood a mountain. The ants looked up and could not see its peak. It seemed to reach right to the heavens. But they did not stop. Up the side they climbed, higher and higher. Look, Jerison, they use that word mountain.
Donna.
Do you think that's a mountain?
It's bricks.
It's
Donna.
bricks.
Donna.
All right. Why do you think they use the word mountain, though? Like, do you think that's kind of weird, or?
Because they think it's a mountain because it's red.
It's red?
And it's high.
It's high, right? We know that because we've seen mountains before, haven't we? Or in pictures. Yeah. Okay. The wind whistled through the cracks of the mountain's face. The ants could feel its force bending their delicate antenna. Ooh.
Donna.
You know what an antenna is?
Antenna is like antennas on the car on the top of the roof.
Oh.
That guides them. That, like, some birds have antennas, like, like can control cars, monster trucks and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But you have to have a remote to control them. But the antennas, if you're not driving, like a plane, the antenna guides them so they drive safely and they don't get hurt.
Oh, and I bet that's what the ant's antenna does for them too, you think?
The antennas, are what can make you left, right, straight, back.
I bet that's kind of what the author was telling us too. All right, let's keep reading. When the ants came out the tunnel, they found themselves in a strange world. Smells they had known all their lives, smells of dirt and grass and rooting plants, had vanished. There was no more wind, And most puzzling of all, it seemed the sky was gone.
It was. They're in the bathroom. Blech.
All right.
What if they fell in the toilet?
That looked all right. They crossed smooth, shiny surfaces, then followed the scout up a glassy curved wall. They had reached their goal. From top of the wall, they looked below to a sea of crystals. Remember that word, Jerison? Sea of crystals.
Crystals.
One by one, the ants climbed down into the sparkling treasure. Okay, Jerison, make sure you're paying attention, okay?
Okay.
Let's look at the pages. I need you to help me look at the pages, okay? Quickly, they each chose a crystal, then turned to start the journey home. There was something about this unnatural place that made the ants nervous. In fact, they left in such a hurry that none of them noticed two small ants who stayed behind. Why go back? One asked the other. This place may not feel like home, but look at these crystals. You're right, said the other. We can stay here and eat this tasty treasure every day forever.
Oh, I just noticed something. I think the crystals are actually allowance, like for little quarters and cents and stuff. Because I see car. I think he's saving up for a car.
Oh. Well, now let's look at this, though. You see the picture here? Now,
Car. C-A-R.
okay, well, I think that might be a G, and let me tell you why. If they're saying it tastes sweet, because they're eating it, and it's in a jar,
A car, maybe.
why would they eat it and it tastes sweet? What do ants like? Do you know? What do they constantly go to? Say in the kitchen.
Hold on. I just noticed something.
Okay.
They're not crystals. If they're not crystals, what could they be? They're the food.
They said it's sweet. Let's keep reading.
Look, kids at home, what do you think these are for a food? Is this a G, or do you think it's for car?
All right, let's keep reading. You ready? Daylight came. The sleeping ants were unaware of changes taking place in their newfound home. A giant silver scoop hovered above them, then plunged deep into the crystals. It shoveled up both ants and crystals and carried them high into the air. The ants were wide awake when the scoop turned, dropping them from a frightening height. They tumbled through space in a shower of crystals and fell into a boiling brown lake.
Oh, I know what they are. They're gummies.
Could be. Let's look. Then the giant scoop stirred violently back and forth. Crushing waves fell over the ants. They paddled hard to keep their tiny heads above water, but the scoop kept spinning the hot brown liquid. Around and round it went, creating a whirlpool that sucked the ants deeper and deeper. They both held their breaths and finally bobbed to the surface, gasping for air and spitting mouthfuls of terrible, bitter water.
They're coffee. It's coffee. It's coffee because it's brown.
Okay. You used that word in the story, didn't you, Jerison, to figure that out? Because what else is brown?
Since it's liquid and it's brown, there ain't really nothing else that's brown and liquid.
Okay.
So I think it's coffee, but the beans look like crystals.
What do people put in coffee?
They put beans.
They put coffee beans. But what makes it sweet? Sometimes it's kind of bitter. Have you seen your mom put something in the coffee?
Sweetness.
What do you think
Or
it is?
salt.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me keep looking.
Then the lake tilted and began to empty into the cave.
Yeah, it's coffee.
The ants could hear the rushing water and felt themselves pulled towards the pitch black hole. Suddenly the cave disappeared and the lake became calm. The ants swam to shore and found the lake had steep sides. Now, Jerison, if it's sweet, what's sweet? That you have in your kitchen, that you use in a lot of other things. Maybe you bake with it. What about sugar?
Maybe sugar.
I think it might be sugar.
We'll go see.
Come here and sit real quick, okay? And then we can check that out later.